I remember when life was better. I remember like I've been alive forever. I remember being born in abundance you never measure. Predecessor from the epicenter, the genetic mecca. I'm a representative of the metal never. You get it, you never met it. The devil, he never better. I protect the treasure, then the present center. Camera was never dancing through the rain dance, make the weather wetter. The crown is a head and tenor. Call me Imhotep, the architect of clever. Break the temple down and put it back together. I remember I was royalty. From the soil where the oil be. Never let the bigger man in me. Growing from the little boy in me. Been a victim of my loyalty. Let my ego kill the joy in me. That's what it did on destroying me. I forgot the Lord and I forgot that I was God. I forgot that I was free. I forgot that I was king of the jungle until I remembered I'm me. She forgot that she was God. She forgot that she was free. She was stuck up in this slumber so long she forgot she was ever a queen. I'm the king up in the jungle now. She the queen up in the jungle too. I'm the king, I'm not a monkey now. All this power, what can money do? I'm the king up in the jungle now. She the queen up in the jungle too. I'm the king, I'm not a monkey now. All this power, what can money do? I remember now. I got my memory back. I remember now. Got my identity back. Try to tell me that the pyramids is alien, it could never be black. I was sleeping, dreaming, hoping someday that my life and my destiny match. Sipping juice with the forbidden fruit. Living proof I knew the hidden truth. Call me nigga, man, a criminal. I got that still when I made the original. Said I'm a jigaboo, only jigaboo. I knew it's the mother of Little Blue. Ivy League is an institute, they can teach you anything that you knew in the inner you. Even evil is a piece of the puzzle. Be the leader, you need people to trust you. People hate you when it's people that love you. Catch you slipping, you can easily fumble. We can slick and give the kingdom the crumble. They took our freedom, now we sheep in the huddle. They took our history, they keeping it from you. Then I forgot I was the king of the jungle. I forgot that I was God. I forgot that I was free. I forgot that I was king of the jungle until I remembered I'm me. She forgot that she was God. She forgot that she was free. She was stuck up in this humble so long she forgot she was ever a queen. I'm the king up in the jungle. She the queen up in the jungle too. I'm the king, I'm not a monkey now. All this power, what can money do? I'm the king up in the jungle now. She the queen up in the jungle too. I'm the king, I'm not a monkey now. All this power, what?
Whoa, 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 whoa. All right. What's up, everybody? What's going on? Just giving y'all some time to get in here. Hope everybody's having a beautiful day. Just celebrated my birthday 3 days ago, sorry. Had a great day. I'm grateful, thankful for everyone who said happy birthday. Spent time on Zoom with family and friends. Spent time with my queen, Natalie. Just hung out. And yeah, there was a lot of peace and a lot of love, and that meant a lot, you know? That's something that sometimes we struggle to find in this crazy 2020 world. But today, we're going to be talking about sex symbols. Ooh. Did anybody see the WAP video? I'm sure you have. I would love to know your thoughts. Comment below. Let's get the conversation started. Um, are we having a sexual issue in our society? Is sexual empowerment a good thing? Uh, is sexual energy divine? Is it evil? Is it wicked? Should we be talking about more or less sex in our music? What does it mean that we express sex so much? Just gonna ponder on that for a minute. So what I want to do for this knowledge talk today is let's look at these symbols and then let's relate it back to earlier periods and see if we can find any type of correlations, shall we? So it's interesting. I will say this that you know how Nat sent me a video the other day which did a really good expression of or description of how parents were so judgmental of us and what we listened to and how we expressed ourselves. And we looked at them like they were crazy. You know what I mean? And thinking that, you know, when we grow up, we're not going to be so cold and so boring as they are. And now look at us and we're doing the same thing, looking down like, oh, you sick younger generation. You guys are awful. What does that mean? Where does that come from? Because you would think that everybody, the next generation will be getting smarter and smarter. But it seems like for us, sometimes it feels like it's going into the opposite direction. Or is it? You know, are things just coming to the surface? You know, sexual energy starts at the base of the spine and is a very one of the most dominant forces inside of the human body. So it's not really surprising that it's one of the main things that we deal with in this world. I mean, how can we even live or how can we evolve or keep the world going without it? So it's a very powerful tool. Have we overused it? Possibly. Have we misproperly used it? Perhaps. Do we have a full understanding of it or how powerful it is? Maybe not. But that's why we're here. So that we can go in on that. So, type one, if you enjoyed the video and you know what it stood for. Type two, if you wasn't feeling it, and why. Mike James in the building. What's up, bro? Uh, man. So as you can see, we're talking about sex symbols today, man. You know, we got so many mixed emotions going on right now. Um, so I wanna help us get to some clarity. What's up, Ashley? I've heard worse songs and lyrics, so I'm like, oh well. Yeah. I feel you on that. I feel you on that. Hey, but I'm gonna show some interesting stuff today. I'm gonna pull up my some of my screen. Uh, I'm gonna share it in just a second. Yeah, why not? Because what's happening from my perspective, and this is something that I've talked about before, is so this is going to lead down a few paths. One, we're talking about the rise of this feminine energy, um, which is a good thing because it's been suppressed for so long on a physical level with uh, men dominating society and oppressing women, physically, mentally, and emotionally, and as well as the feminine energy within. So, with living in a world full of fear, it has caused us to suppress our internal true selves, which is what we would connect to, that feminine or that negative or that internal self. And so now those things are starting to come to the surface. People are starting to become more aware of themselves, which is a representation of that mother spirit coming back, that nurturer, that love that has been gone or suppressed for so long. Now you said one just funny with the hoes and how simple. Yeah, I feel you. I think that's a trigger. But I think that's a trigger for multiple reasons, and I think that they used that just because they knew it would sell. Because when that song originally came out, it popped. So, um, but yeah, so we're rising up, and as well as women, um, and when we come from a religious standpoint, we want to cast a lot of judgment on sexual activity because it's looked at as something that's supposed to be special and just saved for marriage, and you know uh let's not get too freaky, you know what I mean. But what if that's just the nature of where we come from, and if that is understood and not led with trauma, then what kind of conversation are we having? Mike, what you say true, and we needed to get us at least closer to some resemblance of balance. Yeah, exactly. We're getting to that place of balance, um, and to get there, I think we need to allow ourselves to be free to express. And as we become free and not judge each other or ourselves, we'll know what feels right and what doesn't. Because if we base it off of the information that we've been given from this culture, we're going to find ourselves in pits all the time. But we do have the accountability and the responsibility to make those barriers for ourselves. What's up, cousin? Thanks for tuning in. Uh, Type 1 if you like WAP. Type 2 if you dis. No, I'm sorry. Type 1 if you like it. Type 2 if you dislike it. There we go. I got that right, Nat. Um, so we're gonna go to ancient times, because if we go back about 5,000 to 6,000 years ago, um, and if you look at some artifacts and some temples in India or Africa or Asia, you're gonna see a lot of beautiful, thick, big breasted, thick hip, long, thick haired sisters. And they all doing something that looks like some sexual tantric move. Oh, ever they said, whoa, 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 what? Okay, I feel you. Um, but what does that mean? So, because this is a conversation, me and that were having a conversation the other day about, women using the word hoe in their music, and it's almost kind of similar with black people using the N word. Like, at one point, the word was just used to damage or hurt people or talk about a hurt group of people. But on the flip side, it was also kind of directed to just being having strong sexual energy. And so I think with this song, that was one of the points that I was making, was that maybe that, you know, that was what the reference was, is that, hey, I have very strong sexual energy and I'm not ashamed of it. Um, yeah. Now, the reason why we have to have conversations is because you have to dissect the two, right? Because everybody naturally has some form of sexual energy, whether it be strong or not as much as others. but we also come with our own scars and our own traumas. And if we blend the two together, sometimes they can become unhealthy and lead us to do things. So it's not wrong to feel and to be and to act on that, but you will get yourself in trouble if all of that is influenced off of some void that you feel on the inside. You know what I mean? So as we evolve and we start to heal from all this slavery and trauma and programming that we've gone through, then that energy is going to rise up. So one of the things, so we're going to talk about chakras too, because one thing that I learned from growing up in a very small town is that when you don't have nothing else to do and you're bored and you're traumatized and you're suppressed and you're broke, one of the main things you think about doing is having sex. That's it. Sex and eating. You know what I mean? Um, so when you're vibrating on those lower dominant chakras, because you have different forms of energy in your body, right? We know about that. Then that area is going to get um, hyperactive. So if we look at all of our chakras as spinning wheels in the body, a balanced body would be just a natural rotation of those spinning wheels. A spinning wheel that's moving very slow or what seems to be going backwards is an imbalance because it's understimulated. One that's moving super fast is hyperstimulated. So the idea is to balance those things so that that energy can move from one place and rise up to other areas. So as that energy rises up, you're no longer thinking just about sex, but now you're thinking about creativity, or you're thinking about yourself, or you're thinking about your loved ones, or you're thinking about higher realms of thinking. Um, so there's a science to that, and that's what they were showing on these walls. But let's get back to it, because if we'll go to the goddess Tara. Now, Tara was an ancient goddess in an ancient Sumerian African culture, because it all comes from one place and then it just traveled out. Uh, she was the goddess of fertility, for sex. Who was that? Trey? What's up, nephew? Man, thank you for coming in here. So getting back to Tara. Tara is a goddess. But let's slow down real quick. Goddess, gods, the reference is referring to forms of energy, not these beings who are going to kill you or do whatever. We're talking about energy. So let's talk science and let's talk the reproductive system, because we try to run away from sex, and we try to run away from these symbols, but they're all around us. But if we have an understanding of them, we want improperly use them, but we'll have a harmony with them, and we'll be able to, produce life in the way that we desire to, versus, out of fear. Because if you look at a 0 and a 1, mathematics, this matrix that we're in, everything is made up of ones and zeros. 0 is a yoni, which is that great cosmic womb, which is the woman. And that 1 is that spark, that light, that information, that masculine energy, that the man. So it's all around us, even in the Bible. You can look at pictures of on different walls, and I think Rome and maybe even in Ethiopia, where I am bored today. I'm tripping. What am I doing? I gotta draw this stuff out. So where? Let me see. All right. Don't judge my board. Okay. It ain't the prettiest, but can anyone tell me what that is? So if you look on the back of your car, on your grandma car, or your third grade school teacher, and she got that Jesus fish symbol. Remember that symbol? Now, if you look closer, you will notice that is actually something else. And I'll just put a little dot right there to help you out. You know what I'm saying? Or I'll just put a little something, something right there. So, so it is a fish net. uh, it is a fish, but it's a different type of fish. And so you will see different artifacts of Jesus. Whoop, right there. Hey guys, my name is Jesus. Coming out of that symbol. And this is a representation of new life coming out of the womb, if you want to do your research on it. So it's all around us. And the irony about that is that in ancient times, the female sexual energy, even their down to their physical organs, were looked at as God symbols. In today's world, has that changed? Has it been manipulated so that it has become some type of tainted thing? You know, uh, where did the idea of witches come from? Where did the idea of whores come from? Scarlets? Because you don't hear about men talked about this way in ancient cultures. So there's some form of self-hatred, and not coming from the women, but just in humanity or consciousness, where the thing that we all come from, we have some type of fear or judgment toward. So that's ironically kind of interesting. So it shows where we've been uh, in our society, but it's also showing where we're headed to, because people are starting to wake up. Because you have to have balance, but balance doesn't mean suppress. It's like trying to protect yourself from. It's like staying in the house all day to protect yourself from catching a cold outside. Eventually you have to go outside, so you can have responsibility to go outside, put a mask on, or wash your hands wherever you go. You don't have to completely cover yourself up and suppress yourself from being able to live and be free just to save yourself from something. And that's been one of the fears I see that's been over us. Like, and why are we acting like any of this is new? you know Tell me a decade that we can remember where we weren't doing some freaky stuff, or talking about some freaky stuff, or making some music about some freaky stuff. What's the word? What's the definition of the word orgasm? Because you'll find in a lot of ancient books where they talk about having a moment with eternity, or having a moment with God, or being one with God. That feeling is the closest thing to that. Why? I don't know. You're giving away life. You're sparking some electricity and some power that's being surged with another power. So yeah, when two energies come together, yeah, that's creating a something that's never been seen before. But at some point, it turned into something ugly. Especially when we get to Greek and Roman culture, and then European culture, because a lot of our holidays are based on sex, especially Valentine's Day. So Valentine's Day was a day celebrated to Venus. Venus in Rome is Aphrodite. Aphrodite is the goddess of love. Aphrodite is also a character in Greek mythology. I don't quite remember her name at the moment. It's either Medusa or it's another woman. But before her was another deity in ancient Egypt. Now, again, we're talking about not only constellations, but we're talking about the process of human nature and the woman and her power. Um, and so, and for thousands of years, it was something that moved culture. And then as time passed, it was something that suppressed culture. So by the time we get to Greek and Roman culture, now women are starting to be suppressed. You have no more queens leading different countries. Well, you still have one in Ethiopia, but everywhere else now it's the man has taken over. So now this masculine energy has also taken over. So on Venus Day or Valentine's Day, the ritual was um, they would get blood from an animal, either a rabbit or a goat, one of the two, and they would strip the little boys because one of the things that we got to get to is we're so caught up in women twerking and whether you're a hoe or a good woman, and a bigger sexual issue is this child sex trafficking because we don't talk about that enough. But we do get distracted with women shaking their butts as if that's just something that's going, oh, it's so scary. You're going to ruin the world for being turned on. But what about the people being turned on by people who have no defense or no protection over themselves, like a 5 or 4-year-old girl or boy? Now, going back to this Roman culture, they would take these little boys and these little girls. Sorry to get a little dark, but we're just being real. We're still having a good time. Um, would take blood, put it on. They would skin an animal, drench it in blood, the tail with blood, and they would strip the little boys and the little girls naked, and then they would have them run around. And the little boys that could catch a girl and get a little blood on her, that was your prize for the day, and that's who you have sex with. Now, why is that? Is because in February, the moon is moving in a different phase as well as the sun. So now spring is approaching. So they have been programmed to believe that this time of year is very high for sexual energy because just like in the universe or on this realm, when spring is coming, that means the reproductive or the sexual organs are starting to wake up because they're getting ready to produce new life. So that must mean the same thing for the inside of me. My sexual energy is pretty high. So let me get it in so that I can prepare myself to give new life in the next cycle. So catch the little boys. The little boys would go out, catch the girls, tag, I got you, bang, bang, bang. You know what I mean? Um, Also, another thing that was going on during that time is Rome was taking over a lot of different areas. They conquered Egypt after Greece had fallen. They had conquered different parts of what is now called the Middle East and taken over there. And at to be a strong military, you have to have focus. And so the emperor banned all of the men from getting married because he knew that they were going to get it in. So that created a suppression. And because he said, if you're going to be a husband, you're not going to be a good soldier. So we got to cut that out. You're no longer allowed to. Now, something that was already being brewed up in that Greek and Roman culture, which after this point made it even more. Now, since you're blocking these men from being able to even communicate with women like that, they have to do something with the sexual energy. So then they just have to give it to each other. So one of the Trojan, I'm sorry, not the Trojan army. So remember the movie 300? Yeah, remember that? No, and no offense to any gay people, y'all, my family. So it's not a judgment about it being right or wrong. It was just what it was. But that whole army was flamming. because of the culture that they were in. And partly because if that's what you naturally are, that's what you naturally are. The other part is it's a suppression just from not being able to interact. It's just like being locked up in prison for years. You can't get to it, so you have to get it out some other way. Um, so now we're still dealing with things like that in society today because of that suppression, and nobody's being able to freely be who they are or express themselves. Um, if we look at some of these walls in Hindu or Egyptian mythology, uh, Tiamat was another one, and early Greek culture, and all of these goddesses were representations of chaos, and not chaos in the form of uncontrolled energy, but an uncontrollable is so powerful beyond measure. The universe, this ever expanding universe, and everything inside of that is her child. And she has the power to kill many men. You know what I mean? Uh, they meant that in a number of ways because, you know, uh, follow me real quick. But guys, we know how we are. You know, you die one time, that's it for you tonight, or maybe you'll be good in the next 30 minutes to die again. You know what word I'm using? But our sisters, they can die 5, 6, 10, 8, 9, 10 times and still be alive to kill more people. And these stories you'll see in mythology because they were showing the power of this energy. Now that energy can be channeled. A lot of tantric books will teach you about how to take your sexual energy, which is a very potent source, and then transmute that to your pineal gland, which is your higher sexual organ, and use that to then secrete same way you would downstairs to then produce more perspective or ideas or elevation of consciousness for yourself. You know what I mean? So, man, I want to continue this, but I gotta run. I feel like we're just getting into it. I'm gonna come back to you guys with some more pictures. I don't really know how to share my screen yet, so that's why I do it today. I'm sorry. I'm gonna do that next week. It's still a new show. I'm gonna come back with more. I'm gonna draw more. I'm gonna use this more. I had got a little nervous because I wasn't expecting my nephew to come in, so I felt like I had to go a little PG. Love you, nephew. But we're gonna continue to have a good time, and you guys be great. Appreciate your mic. Thank you, that. Thank you, everybody who tuned in. I love y'all. Have a great day, and I'll see y'all next week. Peace.